Hello, my name is Patrick John Coleman. I am a shaman in Chicago, Illinois, and this is a special segment. This is an interview with queer artist and activist Xavier MTW from San Francisco. He has been traveling around the country, and his travels have landed him here in Chicago. So, everyone, welcome Xavier.
Hi. How are
Hi,
you?
hi, hi, hi. This is one of his posters that he made recently. Um, and let's talk about what your project is about. And the project, give the website URL to your project.
Well, I mean, I've always got a couple, like, a finger in every pie. But obviously,
A finger at every pie? Yeah.
I've always got a couple considering. My current project is called 32 Weeks, and it's a very personal blog that I've been keeping up as, I just turned 32. Uh, Much like what I did for my 30th birthday, for 32, I decided to once again leave San Francisco, take off on a great adventure across the country, and I went to Seattle, Minneapolis, and now I'm here. And I'm just writing about my experiences and trying to uh, I'm trying to basically grow as an individual and take what I've learned from my experiences. It touches a variety of very personal issues, but
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
pretty much. But it's trying to reframe how we think about these things, how we think about our own identities, about what it means to have very real adult problems, and how we can maybe come to a greater understanding of them. I've taken on a muse for this project, and
Oh
she's
yes, please. I'm gonna get out of the frame, and I want Xavier to explain this because this is pretty amazing. So I'm gonna take myself out of the frame and let him explain it for you. Go ahead, go.
my muse.
Yes, because this is so fascinating. Go, go,
Well,
go.
I've taken Nancy Reagan as my muse, which is funny because I think in queer communities, at least, Nancy Reagan is she's pretty despised. I mean, the Reagan administration did such a bad job with dealing with the first wave of HIV, the first wave of AIDS, that she gets a lot of flack for it. And I've been kind of like reading up about her. I've been watching videos and just trying to come to maybe a greater human understanding of the former first lady, who's passed away sadly. But she I think we need to re-examine her, and I've been fascinated by her as the token like devoted wife, or I mean, if there's anything Nancy Reagan was, it was she was uh, the most devoted, like the very picture of what a devoted presidential wife is supposed to be. Um, so yeah, she's been definitely inspiring me, and I've kind of in this blog I've been keeping. It's based on real events. It's based on real experiences. However, I have the ghost of Nancy Reagan as a foil to my character because I tend to be very rambunctious. I tend to be very outspoken, very loud, sometimes to a point where it's obnoxious. And instead, I've got to my side a character whose very nature is very demure and withheld and very thought out. I mean, if there's one thing I've become fascinated with, it's when you watch interviews of Nancy Reagan, she, after any question, she stops, she pauses, and you can see that in her eyes, she's thinking about the question, she's thinking about how she's formulating her answer, and it is very calculated and very just. She just says the bare minimum, and I think that's a skill that I wish I had quite often, and I think it's a great contrast to my character, which is like, hey, second date, drugs, woo, like all that shit, and it's and she's very quiet. So she's been a bit of an inspirational figure. Um, yeah, that's my muse. That's Anne Francis
And Francis.
is her maiden name.
Okay, so by using Nancy Reagan was most notable for her stance on just say no, the war on drugs.
I mean,
She
she
coined
coined
that term.
phrase.
She coined that
She was
phrase.
in school in Oakland, and she little girl asked her, "What happened to the no?"
Just
Just
say
say
no.
no.
Just say
It's
no.
such a simple answer.
But at the same time that that was going on, we also had the privatization of our prison system.
Which is unfortunate because, I
Well,
mean,
I don't think it was so much unfortunate as it was. Um,
planned,
I wasn't going to say that,
intentional.
but I was.
I
But you
think
read my mind.
no, I
But
think
at this, but in case you don't know, our prison system is privatized. It
we're,
is for profit. Our prison system is for profit.
every time someone goes to jail, someone out there makes
Someone
a
out,
buck.
someone makes a buck.
Yeah,
So while we don't advocate the use of drugs, we do understand that there are people out there who are severely addicted to drugs to the point that it gets them in trouble with the law. Would you say
well,
that? It gets them in
sure.
trouble
I
with the
mean,
law.
my purpose is in writing has not been to promote the use of drugs by any means, but to reframe how we look at addiction in general, to reframe it from a criminal problem to a medical problem. I mean, if there's one thing I've asserted for the last couple of years, and a lot of my work deals very openly with these issues, it's the fact that behind every serious addict I've ever known, and behind the very serious addict that I am or have been, there is always someone who has experienced a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, and that we need to rethink our approach to how we handle drug policy in the United States. I mean, we said it's no coincidence that you see this campaign coming out when we've privatized our prison system because of the fact that, well, it made a lot of money. I mean, the war on drugs employs police officers, parole officers, border patrol is very heavily funded by the war on drugs. I mean, we have so much money being made with it, but rather than banking on criminalization, why not bank on recovery? Why not bank on the actual betterment of people? And that's what I'm trying to advocate.